Welcome to another episode of the Big Brain MMA podcast, episode 56, KSW 79, Philip DeFries versus Todd Duffee 2, and a bonus Bellator 291 breakdown. I'm your host, BigSteve, per usual. Promised I'll do a KSW breakdown next time. There was a card on, and here we are. Almost didn't make it. I mean, as you know, four events this week, more than 40 fights, just crazy. And I've got a lot more tape to do, but thankfully this one wasn't too hard to tape. But let's not waste any time. Excuse the glasses, right? I know I look like an idiot. These are just blue light blockers. It's about 11 o'clock at night. If I don't wear these, I might not be able to sleep. Looking at the computer really late. I just have trouble with sleep unless I shut off. Yeah. Other than that, let's get into it. Like and subscribe if you haven't. First fight, Petra Cheskova, Nadia Badzinska - Krolek. Interesting fight. Not really. So I have a bet straight away here. I'll bet the Nadia side. I think that's her name. Let me just double check. Natalia, my bad. Natalia, really low level fight. Extremely, supremely low level fight. Her opponent Petra, she's been around. She's fighting in Bellator. She is 41 years of age. She's lost to Elena Kalyanadu, a Greek chick that's fighting on the Bellator card this week. Just with a heel hook, instant heel hook. She lost the decision to Denise Geerholz. She lost the decision to Mandy Baum. Just red flags. Beaten no one of note. The last fight in KSW, she fought a 3-0 girl, Adriana Kreft. Kreft didn't do anything. She was running away from her, literally backing away, and she still won a unanimous decision. Right, Petra, she kind of looks ripped, so she doesn't look 41 per se, but when she fights, she seems to gas out ASAP. Very stiff, slow, hittable, rigid. Just what is there to say, really? Her opponent, Natalia, I only watched 2 of her fights. Split decision loss in KSW to Sara Smajic, Croatian girl that was ranked number 5 in the division. And then a decision loss to a 4-2 Carolina Ovkaz, another decision. She's a southpaw. She's just scrappy. She's 27 years old, so 14 years the younger. Seems to have decent boxing, pull counters, calf kick, just a lot more volume. Right, she fights like a young gritty chick. They basically fade on Petra. Like I said, super low level. Petra just does nothing. Really slow. She's showing her age. The only concern is this is a catch weight. Instead of 125, it's 130. It's also in Czech Republic, I'm pretty sure. So I think that's Petra's home country. So, maybe a little concern. And then the last fight I watched of Natalia, a little bit of a red flag. When you dig deep into this, the girl that she went to a split decision with, and she should have beaten, Sara Smajic, that was ranked number 5. They're all bad. They're ranked based off one fight. It's kind of like the featherweight division in the UFC. They just get a debut, they have one fight, and they automatically make the rankings. And she won that fight, and then she kind of lost a clear 29-28 against the last opponent, and she couldn't get off her back, and she got dropped as well. So, she could really, really fight bad here and maybe get robbed. But yeah, this is her fight to lose. Really her fight to lose. I got $1.74 line. It used to be a pick'em. I would have loved to pick'em. Maybe you can make the argument that this is accurate. She should be the slight favorite, but I have her at 65% to win, which is just above minus 200. It gives you about 20 cents. That's usually when I have a unit on it. I guess it could be close, but yeah, Natalia should beat her. Just do what you have to do. Stay more active, and you win this fight. So $1,000 to win 740 on Natalia against the 41-year-old in the first fight. George Nero, appreciate this KSW breakdown. Thank you, mate. I'm glad someone does. I've literally got 0 listeners on the chat, which is interesting. Usually at this time, people are in. All right, let's move on. Frederico Camuenwa, Matias Vislai. Another low level, very volatile fight. Now, this fight and a bunch of others, you can just argue you can hit the dog blindly on all of these. Not much tape. Two inexperienced guys. Federico is the hometown dude, Czech Republic. Just a very explosive guy. He's got a fight at heavyweight. He gets taken down easy, and he almost got finished in the first fight I watched. Got mounted, couldn't get up. He's lucky the ref didn't stop it. You actually see that a few times while taping KSW. A lot of people getting saved from mount and the ref just letting it go on for like 3 minutes until the round ends, which is interesting. And yeah, he just gets up and he just knocks the guy out in rounds two. Second fight, pretty much similar. He's dropped down to middleweight now. He was a little bit flabby at heavyweight. And his opponent, Matthias Witzlai, Swedish, Slovakian dude. Yeah, what's his amateur fight? Back and forth, very sloppy. Lost by round 3, ground and pound KO. His opponent's decent. I think he's 3-0 now. Hasn't lost a fight. And then his pro debut, just fought some can, took him down and pounded him out nice and easy. The guy was like 2-5, 2-20. So pretty much like a Jay Ellis of the European regional scene. Yeah, Matthias is the massive underdog here. And like I said, you can just make the argument for the dog. It's going to be a sloppy fight. The favorite, Federico Comunao, he can't stop a takedown. Matthias is going to go for the takedown. It's just going to be sloppy and sweaty. You can just take a stab. I don't know why he's such a big favorite. Maybe because he's got knockout power and he's the hometown guy and he's 2-0 instead of 1-0. If you got balls, if you got balls and you just want to take a stab, you can. For me, I don't want. There's still a chance that all the favorites hit, and then you just you lose a bit of money just taking stabs on every single one of them. But yeah, this could be like another fake card where all the underdogs have value. So yeah, past there. But over-unders, I will get over-unders on KSW, which is why I taped every fight. I don't have it at the moment, so I'm just going to, while I'm on the podcast, let's just have a look and try to guess where they're going to open up. Cool. So there's not even on best fight odds, there's no over-unders. That's great. So I assume it's going to be over 1.5. I might be interested if it's like pick'em or something. We'll see. But yeah, it's probably going to be lined, very juiced. Just two heavy hitters. Sloppy fight. Next fight, Ramzan Jambiev versus Murillo Delfino. Ramzan Jambiev, very explosive French guy. Obviously, seems to maybe have some sort of background, maybe Dagestani. Very explosive. He's suplexing guys, throwing spinning kicks, rolling thunders. Very aggressive ground and pound. But yeah, seems decent. Another massive favorite. And then Murillo Delfino, jiu-jitsu guy. I found this fight from 2016. Takes the guy down, submits him, which is an amateur fight. And then I found another fight where he takes the guy down and punches him out. Right, in 2019, and he hasn't fought since. He's 3-0. Right, seems like a good submission dude. He's a massive underdog again. He's 31 years old. He's in his prime. It's just like another one where you can take a stab on the dog. They've got the identical records. They've got identical level of competition. Delfino just hasn't fought in a while, but he seems like a good jiu-jitsu guy. His opponent, Ramzan, I've seen him on his back in his last decision victory. Let me just double check for you. So his last decision victory was over a 3-1 Sofiane Beland, 100% fight promotion. Who the hell knows what that is? Yeah, 3-1, 0-0, 2-2, and he's got a loss against the 0-0 guy. So I don't know why he's such a massive favorite. Again, another one we can just take a blind stab. I'm not advocating for it because I don't do blind stabs unless I have a good feeling about him. Yeah, easy pass. No tape on Delfino, but he's just a jiu-jitsu guy. This Ramzan could be young. He's 23. Could be young. Could be cocky. Could throw a rolling thunder and up and bottom. Can't stand up. Yeah, just a pass. Pass fight for me. And yeah, that's why this card was kind of easy to tape. Bo Jackson, fire emoji. Thanks for tuning in, mate. I don't feel extremely lonely anymore. Alrighty. Michal Kita versus Daniel Omilenchik. This fight is two washed guys in their 40s. Yeah, it's just going to be a slobber knocker while it lasts. Neither guy has much cardio, much defense, both plotting. I remember last time I did a podcast on KSW with my boy Subliminal MMA. We talked that we kind of liked Michal Martinek against Daniel Omilanchik, and we didn't get lines until Martinek was a slight favorite, and we both passed at that point. Glad I did, because apparently Martinek struck a move to a 30-27, and yet he got robbed by split decision. So, yeah, got saved there. But the thing is with Michal Kita, he's 42. He doesn't have the footwork. He doesn't have the speed of Martinek. He's going to plod forward, and he's going to get into Daniel Milanchik's range, and he's a little bit chinny. Right, he's been finished by Philip DeFries, Darko Stosic twice, and Ricardo Prasel, which is horrible. He's that ex-goalkeeper / jiu-jitsu black belt that got knocked out by Dontel Mays on Contender Series by a straight ankle lock. Oh, pardon me, that was Daniel Milanchik. Kita took him down and just pounded him for one round, and he was just absolutely gassed. And round 2 got taken down and finished himself. But yeah, he's pressuring. He can't fight any other way. He'll mix in takedowns. He beat Marek Somoluk, just one win in the last 4. By taking him down and pounding him out. He seems to have good ground and pound. That would be his best path here against Daniel Omilanchik. Omilanchik was decent fighting on the ACA Russian regional scene, but he's also, lost 3 in a row, and then he should have lost to Michal Martinek in KSW, which would make him 1, 2, 4, 5 losses in his last 6. So the guy's kind of, and he's getting knocked out more. He's the one that got straight ankle locked by Ricardo Prasel, which I just mentioned. They've got a common opponent. Both losing to this guy is a massive red flag. I think this probably should be a pick-em fight. Omilanchik is $1.60 favorite, which is interesting. You can probably play Kita as a dog. He's just not for me. Like I said, he doesn't have the speed of Martinek, who danced around Omilanchik. Kita's going to get into the pocket. He'll be hittable. Both guys have bad cardio, but Daniel will push the pace. He can fight like at a slow calf kick and 1-2 pace for 3 rounds, whereas Kita's got a lot of fights where he just dies after the 1.5 minute mark. So maybe the under 1.5 here could be good, even though if it's a standing fight, I could see these guys going longer. Let me just see. I'm pretty sure Kita's on short notice too. Let's go back. Let's have a look. Short notice, but he does that all the time. Yeah. Milanchik was meant to fight Victor Pesta. So Kita's on short notice. Cardio is probably going to be crap like always. Yeah, let me check best fight odds if there's an over-under for this fight. Probably not. Oh, here we go. Ooh, the under 1.5, $1.75. $1.75. Close to pick 'em. It could be risky because it could be a washed old man striking battle on the feet when no one has any urgency. Kita gets knocked out when he gasses out and he gets ground and pounded. DeFries ground and pounded him. Purcell ground and pounded him. Stosic just hits like a truck. And that the last fight went over the 1.5 rounds. Yeah. It's tough. That's the way I would look at it. But yeah, let's move on. It's just a very low level fight. David Hoshek, Andreas Berg Gustafsson. All right, this is like a very volatile fight between 2 apes. Gustafsson is very aggressive, goes for takedowns. And Hoshek, what does Hoshek really do well? I mean, he just circles around. I wrote he's a bit of a spastic. Circles around the outside, swings wide looping hooks, blitzes in, very wide. Yeah, can be taken down. I understand why Gustafsson's a favorite, just because he actually goes for takedowns. But whenever Gustafsson gets taken down, like he got taken down in his KSW debut by Yankovsky, I think that's his name, the guy that Tom Breeze guillotined, Damian Yankovsky, right? He's got an Olympic Greco-Roman wrestling style. And he took him down, and the guy couldn't get out of side control. So if Hoshek goes for his own takedown and Gustafsson ends up on his back, it's just a warning sign. But yeah, Gustafsson has a bit more of a process with his striking. He kind of mixes it up. despite being an ape. He's got a little bit of leg kicks, body kicks, and decent pressure, and then he can use his wrestling to win. Whereas Hoshek, he's just, like I said, spastic, stays on the outside. He's more athletic. He's the faster guy. I mean, these guys both hit quite hard. Gustafsson's gone past minus 200 now. So it seems like a bit of a crapshoot fight. I don't really want to put my money on it. But yeah, Gustafsson most likely wins if he doesn't get knocked out with a flailing hook. Hoshek also has been grounded by like a Serbian dude he's been grounded by really low-level opponents. So I think his path here is a knockout. Over-under, let's see if we've got over-unders. Over-unders. It's probably going to be 1.5. The over 1.5 is minus 200. I wonder if that's what I'm going to get. It probably goes over, but I don't want to hit it in a volatile fight like this. Under 2.5, pick 'em. Yeah, it's a tough one. Nothing jumps out. Let's move on. Brian Hoy, Jivko Stoimenov. Alrighty, so this Hoy cost me some money in his last one as a slight favorite. So I see some people asking me, does Brian Hoy deserve to be put in parlays? And I taped it, and definitely you shouldn't put him in parlays. You should stay away from this fight unless you want to play the dog. Jivkos Stoimenov, he's just an aggressive pressure guard. He just throws everything as hard as he can. He's kill or be killed. Right, he's got 5 losses. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm pretty sure all 5 are knockouts. I can't see the one in 2016. I'm sure it says it on Sherdog if he's been finished or not. Fought Vaso Bakucevic, who is a horrible Montenegrin fighter. He didn't do anything, and then he retired with a leg injury after round 2. Got knocked out by another Serb guy I never heard of, which is surprising because I'm Serbian. Got knocked out by Mohamed Grabinski. And then in his KSW debut, he actually fought Artur Sepanjak. This is the guy that I faded against Hoy last time. So this Artur guy, he's only like 25, and Jivko dropped him 3 times in round 1, right? And then eventually Artur got up, took him down, and rear naked choked the gas Jivko. And that's what made me play Hoy against Artur, right? Because I thought he was very chinny, and Hoy's won like 3 in a row after losing to Skatizi, where I faded him, by the way, in Bellator. He won UAE Warriors and his KSW debut as a massive underdog. He won round 1 KO. Then he fought Artur, and I'm like, he's going to knock out Artur, and Artur knocked him out in 40 seconds. Right, so they both fought the same guy. They both lost to the same guy via rear naked choke, and then Hoy got knocked out with a head kick. But what it comes down to, yeah, I can't hit Hoy at $1.40. No way you can put him in parlays. His defense is horrible. He literally almost got knocked out by a head kick against Skatizi. He got dropped by a head kick. He got dropped by Hamami in UAE Warriors. He got dropped by a head kick in his KSW debut. And then he got knocked out by a head kick by a grappler in 43 seconds. So 4 times in a row, this guy cannot stop a head kick. Right, he's been knocked out in round 1 before against Viktor Kolesnik in M1. Yamumbu knocked him out. Like, this guy's got bad defense, despite being a good kickboxer. And you just can't see head kick coming. And there's a head kick knockout by Jivko, even though he's fought nobody. And he's going to come forward. He's 26. He's going to brawl like a maniac. It's a dog or pass for me. Someone's getting knocked out here. This would be a 1.5. Under 1.5 I would consider playing, providing it's not juiced. And yeah, it's minus 200. It's minus 200. That breaks my heart. But yeah, I'd rather play Jivka, half a unit to win a unit at $3. Yeah, Hoy can't be trusted with his chin. But yeah, someone's getting knocked out here. I wish that the under 1.5 wasn't so juiced, but they're onto it. Alrighty, let's move on. Thomas Mosny, Adrizuk, Rezosek. So 2 kickboxers. These guys have so many similarities. 6'8" versus 6'7" kickboxers. Again, I feel like you could hit the dog here. One of them is a massive favorite. They're both, super inexperienced, 1-0 and 1-1. Thomas Mozny is the giant Slovak, 31 years old. He seems to have a much worse record, 20-10 in kickboxing. I think he's on a 4-fight losing streak. Whereas Rizosek Hightower, he's coming off in winning a massive upset over Badr Hari, which is one of the legends of kickboxing. He knocked him out with a head kick after being dropped multiple times. I hate these kickboxing fights in KSW. Right, I remember one of them had 2 boxers, 2 high-level polished boxers, and the favorite had a lot more MMA fights, and he was grappling. And I was like, I should really hit this favorite. He seems to be a lot more well-rounded for MMA. And I passed, thankfully. And then in the actual fight, the other boxer with like one MMA fight, I grappled him for 3 rounds, and it's like, who can see that coming, right? It's just, you don't want to touch these MMA fights. Thomas Mozny, he lost once in 2011 in MMA, which you can't find. And then his last fight, he fought a gritty guy in Russia and got dropped instantly, almost knocked out. Camille Mendes 7-3 in RFA. The guy was ground and pounding him for ages, and the ref let him survive. And then Thomas knocked him out in round 2. And on the other side, his opponent, after having 2 fights with Badr Hari, he fought another kickboxer in KSW that was like 1-0, and that guy almost folded him in round 1 and mounted him as well. So a lot of similarities between these two, and he also survived and knocked that guy out in round 3. Right, Rizosek seems to have the better cardio, the much better kickboxing credential. And he went into round 3 and knocked him out. But Mozny fought the much better guy, like a 7-3 Russian dude that actually tried to take him down and seems to have a ground game. Yeah, I don't know. The massive favorite probably wins, but who knows? Like, I would not touch these. Would not touch these kickboxing fights or boxing fights that they have in KSW. They're kind of like freak show fights. But if you are going to play, it's another dogger pass. If they stand for 3 rounds, who knows what's going to happen. Like, they were both dropped and almost knocked out in the MMA debuts. So, yeah, crap show fight, dogger pass. All right. Co-main event, Dominik Humberger versus Nemanja Nikolic. Now, this fight's not on. And Nikolic, the Serb guy, he's pulled out. But I did tape his replacement, so I'll talk about it. So Dominik, I think he's the main boy here. He's 27 years old. He's from Czech Republic. They're fighting in Czech Republic. Did a trailer on him. I think they're hyping him up. He's 5-0. He's undefeated. He's got the KOs, the nice highlight reel. He can be taken down though, and he gets taken down a lot against a lot of competition. And I was kind of passing, and I was looking at maybe playing Nemanja Nikolic, who's like a big juicy Serbian dude, just does all his work on the ground. But now that fight's off, and now Dominik Humberger, not Hamburger, Humberger is fighting George Bueno. George Bueno is a jiu-jitsu dude that just takes you down and hits you, right? And I found 2 fights. I found one fight in Octagon, where he just took the guy down and back and rear naked choked him. Right, he's 8-1. He seems explosive. He's 33, and before that he knocked the guy out. That was 20-10, and the guy in Octagon was 6-0, and before that he lost a decision to an 8-0 guy. So he's got a decent record. He's, like I said, Humberger can be taken down, which is why I was passing on -200 against the Serbian guy. And now he's fighting a guy that's probably got better jiu-jitsu. The Serbian guy's fought nobody, by the way, just Serbian regional scene. This Bueno guy is actually fighting, an undefeated 6-0 guy in Octagon, an 8-0 guy before that, which is his only loss, a 5-0 Lucas Batista guy, who actually dropped him with a spinning elbow. Maybe could have knocked him out, who knows. And then there was an accidental eye poke, and I feel like Bueno got saved there. But yeah, the line is even juicier on Dominik Humberger, who, like I said, gets taken down. He stays on his back for a bit. He's fighting a good jiu-jitsu guy. Who knows? Maybe he gets submitted. Maybe he doesn't get up. But what he does is usually, once he scrambles up, he just kind of knocks his opponents out once they gas out. Like a death by 1,000 cuts, once they get tired out from trying to hold him down, take him down, he just, body shots him and beats him up. So yeah, this is a dogger pass, but he's just, Bueno coming in on short notice. He fought 2 months ago, December last year, so he's probably ready. What does he usually fight? Middleweight, yeah. Yeah, it's a dogger pass. Easy pass. I wonder what there's probably going to be no over-unders here. No. It could be a potential spot, but Bueno, never been finished. Never been finished, and Hamburger, fought nobody really. Fought nobody, and like I said, death by 1,000 cuts. A lot of these guys go over. His debut in KSW, Boris Bokovsky, right on the under 1.5 mark. So it's probably the under 1.5 is probably going to be juiced. And if you look at his decision, if you look at his amateur career, in 2019, 2018, 3 losses by decision in 2018, and 1 in 2019. So it leads me to believe that, because you can see that his takedown defense is not the best. He's probably getting grounded out in his amateurs. Right, people are wrestling him. Oh, he actually lost to Gustafsson, the 5-0 guy that's fighting on the card. Right, he definitely got wrestled there in his amateurs. So yeah, I wouldn't be playing the juice here. Maybe the under 1.5 is probably going to be juicy because he's a KO guy and the other guy's a submission dude. I'll probably play the over there. Play the over if it's massive dog odds. Yeah, nothing that sticks out. A lot of these fights are like this, unfortunately, on this card. But hey, I've got $1,000 play on the women's fight. Low level. Let's hope I don't get burned, but I'm keeping it. I like it. And the main event, Philip DeFries, Todd Duffee. This is a rematch from the UFC fight. Just DeFries got knocked out in the first fight. Completely different and irrelevant fight. He's since gone and defended his title multiple times. I think he's got the record for the most title defenses, or he's close to beating it. He's a lot more juicy. Looks completely different, of course. He just finishes most people. He had a split decision against Luis Henrique from UFC, and since then he just, finished Kita, finished Nakun, who's the next champ, finished Darko Stosic really late. Stosic actually tapped from exhaustion, and finished Ricardo Purcell, round 1, which is what you should be doing to Ricardo Purcell as a jobber. But yeah, Todd Duffee, he's got no business being in here. He's 37, right? Last fight against Frank Mir, horrible look, knocked out in 19 seconds against Overeem, knocked out by Mike Rosso with that horrible punch. I think he's chinny. I think it's pretty certain to say he's chinny. He's weak mentally. Tried making a comeback in 2019 against Jeff Hughes, went balls to the wall. Couldn't get him out of there. Got hit himself. Couldn't get a takedown. Just completely gassed and then quit due to an eye gouge. He wanted out of there, and now 3 years later, he's coming back to fight Philip DeFries, who's probably going to break him. He's going to take him down. He's going to lean on him and just going to do what he does. He's got no urgency. He's just sitting on you, kind of tapping you with 100 million strikes. He's just kind of almost looks like he enjoys punishing people. He waits till they break. I mean, Stosic is horrible cardio, and he made him give up, which is, just sad. So, I mean, if Todd Duffee is going to win, it's going to be round 1 KO, the same way he beat him in the UFC years ago. Otherwise, yeah, Fries is just going to finish him at some point. No doubt about it. There's no way Todd Duffee, with his chin and his weak mindset, is going to make it out. At first I thought under 2.5 when the over-under's open, but it's probably going to be under 1.5, right? But then even then I was like, what's Todd Duffee got in him? Can he make it over 1.5? Has he ever been over 1.5? Frank Mir knocked him out in a minute. He's knocked out everyone else in a minute. Jeff Hughes, he looked like he was really falling apart. Overeem, 19 seconds. And Mike Rosso was in round 3 in 2010. I don't think he has that cardio. Even in his amateurs, he broke his hand in 3 minutes in round 1. I don't think this guy should get out of round 1. I think this is just a paycheck. Let's see what we got. We'll definitely should have some over-unders on. Oh man, it's close to -200 again. I don't like it just because Philip DeFries is so There's no urgency, right? Thomas Narkun, his third last title defense, he went over 1.5 by 7 seconds, by 1 minute and 7 seconds. But that fight could have been over the first 30 seconds in. He sat on him, Narkun was done, and he was pounding him, just barely pounding him, just the lightest punches. And I was about to, turn off the fight. I thought it was over. And then Narkun moved a bit. And then, the Fries is looking to pin him down slowly, keep touching him. Like, he doesn't throw hard punches. Like I said, he just plays with these people. If he had some urgency, I would be hammering this. He also has a good guillotine. Todd Duffee just kept trying to go for a takedown against Phil Hughes when it wasn't there. I think he can probably guillotine Duffee. But yeah, how many fights? 1, 2. Stosic went over, but Stosic is very durable. Narkun just made it over. Kita, 50 seconds into round 2, he was just done. Yeah. It all depends on how gassed Todd Duffee is and how hardcore he comes out. But he's chinny, yeah. This should go under. This could be a BigSteve under 1.5. I haven't played one since Bellator, since I hammered the Fedor one and the Beta and the Ward Hamasi one. But yeah, I might just hit that. I think that's going to play. Hopefully it doesn't get worse than -200. Alrighty, got some comments. My bad. Kai Agakai, pretty much all of you, mate. Is this the famous Big Brain MMA podcast? It is, mate. Thanks for listening. Verzosek 2 green to count on him. High chance he will finish inside the distance. I mean, they're both green, mate, but at least Verzosek seems to be the better kickboxer. I haven't checked what the over-under is for that, for the 2 kickboxers. Let me just check. What the hell is it? Best fight odds, what are you doing? It's probably going to be juiced. Oh, the over 1.5 is favored. That's interesting. Both these guys seem chinny to me. Hamburger is not trustworthy. We saw Big Faves losing too many times in KSW. Of course, mate. Of course. I wouldn't hit him. Main event under 1.5 is pretty safe. Phil has shown some urgency in his last fight. Which one? Ricardo Purcell. Yeah, but Ricardo Purcell's a bum, dude. He's a bum. You really should be finishing him. But hey, so is Todd Duffee. So hopefully that's a play for me. Hopefully that's a play. So at the moment, I just have the Natalia girl at $1.76. I cap her maybe 65%. She really shouldn't be losing to this 41-year-old. And that's it. I can't really advocate for anything else on this sketchy card personally, other than a dog shot on everything I mentioned. Dog shot against Hoy. And yeah, dog shot. Yeah, I don't really want to advocate for anything without tape. So no, because I might not be doing a final bets podcast. I've got training tomorrow morning. I'd have to wake up at 6 a.m., which I will. I'm just going to talk a bit about Bellator, give you guys the fights that I did tape. So we'll do that, and then we'll get out of here. And then I'll post my best bets on Twitter, etc., etc. There's going to be a lot of bets, so alrighty. So let's talk about what I taped. So here we go, Bellator. Here's my screen shared. So what did I do? Skatizi, Hrtsenko. Skatizi is a juiced favorite. Hrtsenko, he trains with Amasov. Young kid, he seems good. They both have the same style. Not much tape on Hrtsenko. I found his tape on the best guy. He fought the 10-5 dude. He just wrestled him for 3 rounds. Pretty much what Skatizi does. It's probably a levels fight, but Skatizi is gassy himself. He's just one-dimensional. He just wants to wrestle. If he can't wrestle this kid, probably doesn't cover the line. But yeah, the kid's 25. He could be the real deal. I don't know. So yeah, it's a pass fight for me. UFC betting experience. There you are, mate. Welcome. Skatizi decision. Possibly, but again, I don't know with this kid. I don't know if he's going to flake. I don't know if this is a levels fight. I do have unders here. Let's see what the over-under here is. Ooh, the over 2.5 is $1.58. You know what? This kid throws hands, by the way. He throws hands. He's got like that explosive sambo striking. But rather than play Skatisi, I'd rather play this over 2.5, $1.58. Right? Both these guys are probably going to grind each other and it's going to go to a decision. Or even the 1.5. 1.5 is $1.38. So yeah, that could be a shout. Kimika, you look like a brother of Gamrot in the shades. Thank you, mate. Gamrot's one of my favorite fighters. Love the way that guy fights. Although I know that the shades are pretty funky. I'm not a fan of them. It's just to block out the blue light. Haven't taped. Now I've taped Asile Ajuj versus Liam McCracken. I see this is a popular fight. A lot of people have taken Liam McCracken as a dog. I mean, I get it. The kid seems legit. He's got endless cardio. He's just wrestling everyone. He's got that grinding style. Only problem, all his professional fights, you're 0-1, 1-0, 0-0. He's fighting bums. He's running through them. Ajuj, since his one loss where he got wrestled in Bellator by split, he's actually improved. He's wrestling other people, and his knockout over Jordan Barton in his last fight that's a better win than any of these guys have combined. Right, Jordan Barton is the real deal. I've cashed on him as a massive underdog against the Yami guy in France. Jordan Barton's an underrated fighter. So Ajuj, I think the line is accurate. I think Ajuj should be the slight favorite. Being more experienced, high level competition, obviously much better kickboxing, and he's got decent wrestling himself. And I think Liam should be the slight underdog. But man, if he can get his wrestling going off here, he could be he's just a massive favorite. I don't feel comfortable. If you got a better line on Liam when he was a big underdog, then fair enough. Happy to pay that price to find out. But yeah, not for me. UFC betting experience today. Head kick KO was awesome. Yeah, it was. He actually rocked him first with a check hook, and then did well to recognize that it was her and threw a disguised head kick. Over unders, I'm pretty sure I passed on these. I've got 1.5 minus 200. Look, if I was going to play that last time, and Ajuj surprised me with a head kick KO, so if Ajuj is a level above, he might be able to finish McCracken. Yeah, just nothing I want to touch in this fight, unfortunately. Pretty good fight, though. Alrighty. Piotr Nadzelski versus Richie Smullen. I do have a play here. Let's chuck it on for the boys, full screen. So Piotr Nadzelski, he made his debut against Pedro Carvalho, who we'll talk about later on. Moderate underdog. He beat him there. He dropped Pedro. Obviously, Pedro has paper mache chin or dust for chin. He mixes in wrestling. Circles on the outside. He's a southpaw. Has a nice straight left. Has a good guillotine. Is kind of athletic, explosive, and he uses wrestling, to mix it up. Yeah, he's just a decent regional fighter. 17-4 record, and he has a nice guillotine. Likes to go for as well. Pedro is definitely his best win. And then Smullen, a lot of people crap on Smullen, and I thought he was pretty crap too. Just dives on the legs, inverts for heel hooks. Not very athletic. Yeah, not the best wrestling, but he just has a weird way of dragging his opponents into scramble heavy fights. I think he's improved. I'm really surprised that he beat Harry Hardwick. Obviously, Harry is the worst Hardwick brother, but he's still decent. I think he's like 8-5 now. 9-3, right? He's not bad, man. He's gone to Cage Warriors and he's beat Steve Amaby, who's good. Federico Pascal was a draw. He's a decent Cage Warriors fighter. Right? Richie Smullen did good beating him. And then, he went on to RFP regional scene, which is not the best Russian scene, or Ukrainian, and he's just finishing a bunch of Ukrainians with padded records. I get it why he's such a massive underdog, Richie, because the pole is a lot more athletic, he's faster. He can probably stay on the outside and land it straight down the pipe. But what I've seen on some tape, is Piotr on his back, man. He seems horrible. Right, so he's one lost against Langer in 2017. I know it's a while back, but there's not much else you can find. He ends up on his back, and then Langer goes for heel hooks, and Piotr just seems like he doesn't really know what to do, and just no urgency. When Langer was done with looking for heel hooks, he ended up getting on top and instantly mounted him, and the round ended in mount. Piotr had no urgency to get up or, just to think about, once I disengage, I'm going to stand up. He just stayed on his back like a turtle, got mounted. And I've seen that a few times in his, fights against Pedro Carvalho. He dropped him in round one, round two, but then he got dropped by Carvalho and on his back again. He didn't get up in round two. He seems to have a cardio issue. Richie Smullen, he's got his faults. His plotting, not the best defense. He can get reversed a lot. Against Albert Diaz, he lost a split. He's not the best guy in Bellator. He'll get his own takedowns. He'll get mount, but then he'll get reversed himself. I don't think this pole is gonna get reversals. He just seems horrible, and he might need to mix in takedowns to get Smollen's pressure off him. And at that point, he's probably going to get reversed. Smollen's going to go for heel hooks. And he's going to get up on top. It just seems like, despite all Smollen's weaknesses, it seems like he can weasel his way out into a win here. So I played half unit. I played 500 to win 1,100. I got the best odds available last night. Money's coming on him. And now money's coming on Piotr again. So obviously people are parlaying. The odds are fluctuating. But I'm happy with that. It's in Ireland. It's going to be a sweaty split, I feel. Yeah, Smullen might take a beating. The pole can fight smart and maybe look a decent favorite. But I just have a good feeling. Half unit stab to win 1,100. I think Richie has a weird way of getting fighters to fight his way. So little stab there on Richie. So that's my play. Let's move on. Hopefully it proves me right. Haven't taped. I'm really looking forward to taping Charlie Ward. Shipman. Haven't taped the Cillian Clark. I've taped Sinat, Kavanagh, Janae Harding. So this is a rematch. The first time it was kind of close. Janae cut her up with an elbow in round one, and it was a cut stoppage for her. Kavanagh is a massive favorite, right? I guess, what it comes down to, she's got the better boxing. She's kind of more physical, stronger, probably less stupid. Harding is she's a little bit aggressive, scrappy. Maybe the IQ is not the best. She'll go for takedowns. She's got a nice judo throw. At first, I wasn't even going to bother with this fight. Sinead was a massive favorite. And upon taping it, I'm just like, that first fight was kind of competitive, right? Even though Janae was probably going to lose down the stretch. Then when you tape Kavanagh, after that loss by cut, she loses to Leslie Smith, which is an awful look. Olga Rubin, she knocks her out, which is impressive. Olga, I think, is the Invicta champ now. But Olga took her down in round one and she could not get up. It had to be a referee stand-up. For Catherine Lana, who's a nobody, got knocked out by Cyborg, which, it's going to happen. And then she fought Leah McCourt, and I thought she got a generous decision in Ireland there. Leah McCourt took her down in round one. She could not get up. And then got a Kimura, reversed her, and almost finished the Kimura, and that's what won her the round. Round two, she won clean. I think she took McCourt down, but her knees started to give up, like randomly gave out. So, right, she's 37 years old. At what point does she just start to fall apart? So I assume she had some sort of surgery on something on her knee. She hasn't fought in a year. And then round three, she got taken down by McCourt again. And then I think there was a stand-up, and then she ended up on top for a bit. And she got a 29-28, but it was a very risky fight, very close. And then, Janae's 28. She's younger. I know her record is super salty, 6-6. Since that Kavanagh fight, she was beating Amanda Bell and just got ground and pounded with 15 seconds to go in round three. She beat Jessie Mail cleanly, 9-4. Leah McCourt took her down in round one, and then round two, she was kicking the crap out of Leah McCourt. Looked like she rocked her, took her down, dropped her, and then she ended up beating a head up kick and got triangle choked. So she's kind of having these lapses of concentrations where she's doing great and she's winning, and then she just kind of falls apart, right? And then Diana Silva fight, Diana Silva's not bad. She should have beat Julia Budd. Deanna Silva was just more technical, way more technical. And Jana Harding didn't really look for takedowns. She needed to be more aggressive there to win that. She just got outstruck to a 30-27. So yeah, I haven't played it yet just because the way Janai fights, and she makes the lapses of judgment, and how the fights are very scrappy. And like Kavanagh's got the stronger boxing. She can probably get her own takedowns. And it's in Ireland. Like I said, if it's going to be a scrappy, close fight, there is no reason for the judges. The judges have all the excuses to, rob Harding. The crowd's going to be making a lot of noise. So I haven't played it yet, but man, this like UFC betting experience says, Irish girl is old and came off a knee injury. If I'm not wrong, it's only a dogger pass. Of course, it's a dogger pass. You cannot play Kavanagh at $1.44. From what I've seen on tape, on any given day, Liam McCourt, Janae Harding, and Kavanagh, they can all beat each other on any given day. Right? They're just low-level girls in that division. And yeah, one's 37, one's 28. Despite not seeing much improvement from Harding, you got to assume she's making improvements. And yeah, it's a dogger pass. I just haven't played it. It's just, I might wait for the decision line and sprinkle it tiny, but who knows? Harding got a KO win that last time from an elbow. So she's already a decent underdog. Maybe I just sprinkle that, but I haven't pulled the trigger yet. That might be one that I still play. I think the line is a bit outrageous. I don't think Kavanagh's going to cover $1.44. So yeah, dogger pass for me there. I'm close to playing it. Agakai, any thoughts on Carl Moore? His money line doesn't look bad. Yeah, a few people are telling me to tape, but like I said, I haven't looked into it, mate. This is just all the fights that I have taped on Bellator so far. But as soon as I get off now, it's 11 o'clock. I'll tape as much as I can before I go to bed, and then 6 a.m. wake up tomorrow and try to do more. Pedro Carvalho, Jeremy Kennedy. Alrighty, so this fight is decent. I'm a man that played Pedro Carvalho big against Burnell. I played him as a big underdog against Daniel Weichel. I faded him when he fought someone good like JJ Wilson. But yeah, I think this is Kennedy's fight to lose. I really regret not hitting Kennedy at $1.60. Then it got steamed. I was just trying to convince myself: is there any value on this line, or am I forcing it? Can Carvalho do what he usually does? What he does is Carvalho has horrible takedown defense. Right? Horrible takedown defense. It's anyone can take him down. There's zero resistance. What he does is he always gives his back up, and he's elite at breaking the body triangle and getting up, peeling the legs off, and getting on top. Right now, Jeremy Kennedy, I think, is a horrible matchup for him because Jeremy Kennedy just holds on to the back. There's no scrambling. Jeremy holds on to the back. He fought a similar opponent in Sanchez, El Matador Sanchez, who, great pressure and cardio and boxing, just like Pedro. Horrible takedown defense, similarities. And once he gets up, he just pressures you. And I thought he was going to be Kennedy. Just get up and do more damage on the feet because Kennedy just doesn't throw. He's mostly just a wet blanket. And Kennedy just shut him down, right? Just body triangle him in rounds 1 and 3. And I think the same thing's going to happen here. I think eventually Pedro's going to come up against someone like Kennedy, where he can't just keep giving up takedowns and he can't just keep giving up his back and then look to reverse and stand up. It's just a bad way to fight. His path to victory is usually a split due to more damage and volume as opposed to all the control and takedowns that his opponents get. Plus, he's very chinny. So yeah, I missed that line on Jeremy Kennedy. So what I've done is I played half a unit on Kennedy by decision. I think it's a little bit risky just because how chinny Carvalho is. I think anyone can finish him. I think maybe Kennedy can ground and pound him late. But I'm happy with that. Half a unit, Kennedy by decision. He just has to fight how he fought against Sanchez, and he's happy to do it. He's very boring. He doesn't care about the crowd. He can hold on to Pedro for 3 rounds. Mads Burnell in that fight completely fell apart. Right, I bet that live. I didn't bet a pre-fight. I was watching it, and Burnell, he's not that good. He's good, but you could see in that Borix fight, he fights like old school Justin Gaethje in PFL. No defense. Carvalho was lighting him up. He hit the body a lot, which I think gassed out Burnell. And then Burnell just gave up in round 3. Got taken down by Pedro and could not stand up. I think Kennedy will get a reversal. yeah, I think this is a completely different matchup. I don't think Bernal just dropped the ball in that one. And I mean, Carvalho actually took Bernal down in rounds 1 and 2, and Bernal easily, flawlessly just reversed him still. So I think this is, Kennedy's fight to lose. Half a unit on a decision, at least. That way, if Carvalho wins still, I've only lost half a unit. And yeah, it's a little bit risky, but yeah, I'm willing to sweat Kennedy. As UFC betting experience says, Kennedy decision should be fine, but Pedro Chin in 15 minutes going to be sweat. I agree, mate. But harder hitters haven't knocked out Carvalho, right? Harder hitters. Vital hits hard. He dropped him multiple times, didn't knock him out. I think this Pole guy hits hard. Mads Bernal hits hard. Sam Cecilia. Yeah. I mean, we might get saved by Kennedy just holding on for dear life. That's the way he fights. Alrighty, Mr. X. What a mysterious name. Popper versus Serikam is off. That sucks, man. I was excited to tape that one. Both for Serikam as an underdog, and the over-under's there. Oh well, one less fight to tape, I guess. Guys, please hit the like button for Large Steve. Yes, please, if you could. I spent hours and hours taping this week for you guys. Mr. X again. The over 2.5 in Kennedy decision. That's what I was thinking, mate, but I would have to put a lot more money because it's juiced. And again, Pedro can potentially get a finish. I've got questions about Jeremy Kennedy as well, right? He kind of flaked against Volkanovski when he was getting ground and pounded. He was guillotined by Pineda in PFL, and he was knocked out by that Lorento guy in round 1. So I've got questions about his chin. So if Pedro can survive and turn it on in round 3, maybe he can potentially finish him. So yeah, it's a little bit too the chin issues and potentially the Kennedy chin issues, which is why I'm passing when they juiced over 2.5. Probably hits though. Alrighty, Yaroslav Amosov, Logan Storley, probably the best fight all weekend between the UFC and PFL. Rematch, excellent fight. First fight I taped. The first fight I taped, pardon me. It was a split decision. I actually thought Yamasov was 2-0 up going into the third, so I thought it was a bit of an error on the judging. I think he's a lot more fluid with his striking. He's a lot more clean. I think his wrestling is probably up there with Storley. He stuffed all of Storley's takedowns for rounds 1 and 2. He was busting him up. I think Storley came out with a bit of an average game plan. He just wanted to wrestle, and he gassed him out. In rounds 3, by the end of round 2, he kind of gave up, and he got one of his takedowns stuffed, or he got dropped actually, and he ended up on his back, and Amosov finished the round on top, which is why I thought it was a clear 2-0 for Amosov. And then rounds 3, I thought Storley was done, and then Amosov, Storley just put on that wrestling grind, and he almost got a rear naked choke, and Amosov got out. And I have questions about Amosov's cardio. In that fight, he pushed through it, but he looked to be slowing down by the end of round 2. His mouth is open wide in the Lima fight. He had one more fight after that against the Lima title fight where Lima just did absolutely nothing. Just stayed on the outside, wait to be taken down, and just stayed on his back. It was the easiest title win for Amosov. And even then, he was kind of blowing, right? So I have questions about Amosov's cardio from what I see on tape. Obviously, he can push through it. I've seen Storley slow down, breathe through his mouth, and he just pushes through it, right? Both of these guys are the same. But I have an inclination that Amosov might have worse cardio. And he's, bit of a layoff. Logan Storley's striking seems to have improved. When he couldn't really take Gracie to the ground because of his jiu-jitsu, he stood up with him for 5 rounds and he lit him up. All right, Gracie is a punching bag. I'll give him that. I've been fading Gracie since. I faded him there. I faded him against Gochi as a favorite. He's a good fade, Gracie. So he's got good striking, Storley. He was ducking and weaving. He was working the body to go onto the head. He was lighting him up. And then against, MVP, he went back to just crotch sniffing. So if he can incorporate a lot more striking against Amosov, mixing the striking and the takedowns, don't just fight like the first time. Just keep going for takedowns and gas yourself out and, lose the clear decisions. If you can just keep it competitive in the striking, choose when he mixes in the takedowns, confuse the judges, I think this would be a very close fight. This could be potentially pick him, with the improvements that he's made, with the cardio advantage possibly. the stand-up advantage, improvements, not advantage. This could be a close fight. I do agree that Amosov should be favorite based on what we've seen. He seems to be the more well-rounded fighter. But yeah, I took a half unit. I took a half unit on on Storley. If anything, this would be a good live bet fight. I'll probably put more live. But yeah, I have questions about Amosov. I think Storley gives off the opinion that he's one-dimensional, but he can strike. We've seen him strike 5 rounds with Gracie and win 5 rounds to nil. So yeah, dogger pass for me here. I wouldn't want to be playing Amosov at a juice line, considering how close the first fight was, even though I thought he was 2-0 up and with the layoff. So yeah, Storley for me here. Over-unders, all the overs are juiced. I wouldn't really touch that. No value on them. You never know what could happen. Both these guys can crack. So yeah. Maybe you can play Storley by decision. That's what I played against Gracie, but I was sweating bullets. So yeah, that's all I've taped from Bellator. I'm looking forward to tape some more. Unfortunately, apparently that Popov fight is off. So what do we got? So Scatizzi, can't really get a read pass. Ajuj versus Lee McCracken, pass. I think it's lined accurately. I've got a $500 bet on Richie Smullen. I think he's going to weasel his way to a grapple-heavy decision. Harding is a dogger pass. I'm close to playing it. I haven't yet. I'm just scared off by the Irish crowd and how sloppy she is. Haven't looked at this Peter Queally fight. I just really can't be bothered. I've got half a unit on Kennedy by decision. I think he's just going to shut Cavallo down. And I've got half a unit on Logan Storley. Not overly confident. I just think the line should be a lot closer. KSW of Natalia, $1,000. And I'm looking at potentially hammering that under 1.5, the Todd Duffee, Philip the Fries fight. So yeah, that's it for me. Thanks for everyone tuning in. A bit of a late one. Yeah, like and subscribe if you haven't. Thanks for listening. Probably no best bets tomorrow. Been working my ass off. So what I will do is I will post all my bets for PFL. For PFL, I have that chick that's fighting Peralta as a massive underdog. So if you want to see my PFL breakdown, go listen to Couch Warrior Pod. So that's pretty much me breaking down every single card this week. So yeah, jump on Twitter. I'll post my all my bets. But other than that, thanks for listening. Thanks. You take care as well, mate. And yeah, good luck on everyone's bets. Have a good weekend.